I'll just look back compared to, man, what was your name? Fire. I was going to pour some water on you, man, because it was just hot. All right, so, Niaje Beshte Ukapoa Joe. Yeah! I have a question. How come every time I say that, everyone just laughs? I thought when you say Ukapoa Joe, someone's supposed to say, Yo! Right? You're supposed to respond for, but no, every time I do it, I see a Kenyan do it, everyone's boa! I do it, everyone's like, ha! You say it so well. Am I funny looking? Or what's going on? Man! Alright. It's good to be back. I feel like Woodley is one of my homes because I've been here so many times. But it's been too long since my last time. 2 years or something. So I need to come back more often. But it's good to be back. I love Kenya. I'll be back in February. And don't know when, but I will be moving here 6 months out of every year. So I'm turning into a Kenyan, and I look forward to it. So I was thinking about what to speak about today, and I don't know, when I landed in Nairobi, I kept hearing over and over about this famous gospel singer who tragically got killed, and there was a big funeral, and Angela Chibalonza, right? And it got me thinking about funerals, and one of my close friends was responsible for kind of helping plan the funeral for her. And on Saturday it was. And I started thinking about funerals, and like my grandpa just recently died, and he was World War II vet. He had all these medals and honors from the government. And I went to his funeral, and then just being there, and I don't know about you, but every time I'm at a funeral, I start to reflect, and I start to imagine if it was my funeral, what would it look like? You know, you have people coming and making speeches, you have music, you have different things, and I always wonder, what would people say at my funeral? What would people play? What would people sing? What would people be saying about me? Because at the funeral, everyone's like, oh yeah, you know, they keep talking about the person, they say this, they say that. Am I the only one? But if you guys ever go into a funeral and kind of think, wow, what would it be like if I was the one that was dead? And when I'm at a funeral, it really gets me thinking of how I want to be remembered. Because you don't want people saying bad things about you. You want people to remember you for good things. And it gets you to think, okay, well, what am I doing now so that when that day does come, there's good things said? What do I want people to remember me by? What do I want people to say about me? And it really gets you to reflect and to think about your life. We don't think about it that much, but the truth is how we treat people now, the decisions we make, what we say, how we act now is going to determine how we're going to be remembered one day. How you live now is going to affect later on. We don't really like to think that way, and we kind of brush it off and we want to forget about it, and we kind of just live our life without a purpose, without a plan. But if you really think about it, now how you live is going to determine how you are remembered. We're going to be remembered for something. You know, think about your life right now. Will people say that you treated everyone fairly? Will people say that you love the Lord? Will people say that you cheated on people? That, oh, that person lied all the time. Oh, that person gossiped constantly. Are you going to be known for that? What would you be known for if you were to die right now? And then the week comes and it's your funeral. What will people be whispering? Because you know, up front when people make speeches about you, they're not going to be too mean, but everyone else can be whispering things. Oh, that person did this all the time. I don't know about you, but I don't want that to be happening during my funeral. I want to be known as someone who had a passion for Jesus Christ, someone who influenced the world and who made a difference. The worst thing I could ever imagine somebody saying about me is, oh, that guy was a fake hypocrite. That guy wasn't really that serious about God, he just talked about him. Oh, that would be a nightmare to hear. I want to be someone, oh man, he was genuine, he had a heart for the Lord, he did amazing things. So today, I want to talk about how we're going to be remembered. So that we can start living today for tomorrow. So how we can start living today for someday when people will be at our funeral. I don't believe anyone here is going to want a bad reputation. Does anyone here want bad things being said at your funeral one day? Not me. So, my grandpa's funeral was very interesting. Like I said, he had all these medals. I don't know, in world history, you know who General Patton is. He's one of the top generals in World War II. My grandpa served right under him. And so he had lots of medals. He did a lot of amazing things in his life. He lived to be like almost 90 years old. But the funny thing was, at his funeral, all the heroic things he did during the war, none of it was mentioned. All the awards and medals that he got for bravery, none of that was mentioned. How much money he made and how nice a house he had wasn't talked about. What car he drove wasn't talked about. None of that, none of the stuff that we kind of think is going to be remembered was remembered. It was crazy. The only thing that was talked about was how he loved his wife and he lived his life for Jesus. And they told stories and stories of how he affected other people for Jesus and the difference he made for God. It was the only thing that was remembered. It was the only thing that mattered that day. Everything else was irrelevant. It was forgotten. And that really got to me. I was like, wow, a lot of the things we live for today isn't going to be remembered. No one's going to remember what kind of car I drove. No one's going to remember what brand of clothes I wore. Or if I dressed good. Or if I looked good. Or if I was cool. If I fit in. If I was accepted. That's not going to be remembered. It's going to be forgotten. The only thing that's going to be remembered from my life is what I did for God. And the differences I made here in the world. And the differences I made in the people. And it really made me check when I was at my grandpa's funeral. It really made me go, wow. There's things in my life that I'm living for that aren't even important. There's things that I'm focused on in life that aren't even important. And it made me refocus my life and go, you know what? I want to make sure that every day I'm living for something that matters. Because I don't want my life to be meaningless.